Calling all beings. Calling all beings.
I think in 2019, that states that Sweden and Denmark and some other countries had some UFO programs, and I wasn't aware of that. But he stated on Winnie Adams' talk show that it was active when he was at ATIP. Yeah.
That is it really helpful to you guys that Lou knows that, and he would know, right? Because when he was the director of ATIP, he probably was in contact with not only the Five Eyes, even though you guys aren't part of Five Eyes. I'm sure there's conversation. So that tells you that you can engage at least Christian. And by the way, welcome Christian from Sweden. How's it going, brother?
Thank you. It's going great. I just, I got a bit late here. Sorry, but I'm here now. Please proceed.
No, this is excellent. And I'll tell you what, you and Andreas have the two best beards, I think, on the show. Very much, I don't know, Sheriff of Nottingham meets Ragnar Lothbrok. I'm not sure, but they look great. So great job, guys.
Keeping up with that Viking vibe.
Yeah. Anyway, Christian, the other Christian's back. So what we're going to do, Christian from Sweden, is get a quick state of what's going on in Sweden from your perspective. And then we're going to start the round table where everyone is going to present either a topic or a question to the group, and everyone will get an opportunity to comment on that. So please, without further ado, let's get Christian from Sweden. What's going on over there, sir?
Yes. Hello, guys. I have quite a speech to make. I'm not sure if this is the right moment or if I should take that later.
Well, it depends on how long it is. How long are you talking? Are we doing 20 minutes or 5 minutes?
10 maybe.
Okay, let's go for 7.5. Be succinct. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yep.
So and today I'm speaking on my own behalf, not UAP Sweden's. This is not the official position of our network. Everyone has their own opinions, and before I get further, I would just like to establish two facts. Firstly, the media coverage here is absolutely abysmal in comparison to the States, and in consequence, so is the level of interest and knowledge among the general public. As an example, a few months ago, on a very popular quiz show on state TV called På spåret, there was a question to name the secret military base out in Nevada's desert. The celebrity participants are mostly quite well informed on various topics, and one of the teams got it right, but the other guessed Area 57 after some internal debate. But this is the level in society here. It's easy to forget in the circle of people I normally speak with. And secondly, there's an element within the Swedish military that takes an active interest in the topic. This is abundantly clear due to witness testimony from personal friends to us near our network, whom I have no reason to distrust. And the official line, however, is that the military has no interest in the topic, nor any contemporary sightings. Due to a tradition of public trust in our government that stands in stark contrast to that in the US, very few questions this official line. So with these two statements as background, I would also like to speak on the state of disinformation in Sweden. And also I believe the situation in Denmark is quite similar as well.
Yeah.
We heard David Grush and many others speak of a sophisticated disinformation campaign designed to obfuscate the truth regarding the physical reality of UFOs from the public, as well as the existence of crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs. It appears, though, that the ins and outs when it comes to the actual strategy of this campaign is still poorly understood within ufology. But it is my conviction that we can identify a central aspect of it, namely the infiltration of civilian UFO organizations. And I think this goes back all the way to NICAB in the 50s and 60s, which literally had first director of CIA, Roscoe Hillenkotter, on its board. And a more recent example would be James Carrion, the former director of MUFON, was always aiming to identify man-made technology as the source of UFO sightings.
Sure.
In Christopher Bledsoe's book, you can read about how Carrion came to him with a documentary crew and the very clear intention to debunk his story. And as you may know, Bledsoe has many friends within various government agencies, one of whom apparently told him that James Carrion was indeed a disinformation agent, a plant by some three-letter agency. And when analyzing Carrion's behavior, which constantly seemed to discredit that any form of non-human intelligence is behind the UFO phenomenon, it actually makes a lot of sense that he would be planted there to spread this message. When you think about it, the best way to spread disinformation about the UFO topic is, of course, to compromise the discourse on the subject, that is ufology. Specifically by influencing UFO organizations, you can really suck up all the interest in the topic and then go on to control and shape it. And there's strong indications that the same thing has been going on in Denmark and Sweden, especially since the 90s, with the leadership of the organization UFO Sverige here in Sweden and SUFOI in Denmark. As far as I can tell, these two are more or less sister organizations with similar structures and mutual respect for each other. Both investigate UFO reports sent in by civilians and aim to be the national authority on the topic. And I would like to continue by throwing out some disclaimers here. Of course, the wider membership in these organizations are good, honest people interested in the topic and doing their best investigations of UFO sightings. And the same goes on for MUFON, by the way, which is full of competent people and now also have better leadership by all indication. In the event that a small handful of people in the leadership of these organizations have any other agenda, one that is given to them by people from within the national security states, this does not make them bad people. I'm sure that they believe that they are doing what is best. And many people with a lot of knowledge on the topic, for instance, some within the Invisible College, are by their own admission not wholly pro-disclosure, as they do not see it as beneficial to society, I guess. Nevertheless, it appears that the leadership of both UFO Sverige and SUFOI are not completely honest in how they engage in the topic on a number of points. And I believe this has been quite detrimental to the level of interest and knowledge within our two countries. The people in charge of SUFOI are straight up 100% unapologetic debunkers, claiming that the whole phenomenon can be explained by mass psychosis, weather balloons, etc.
Yeah. Mylar balloons from kids' parties and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But still, they encourage witnesses to report their UFO sightings to them, only to then go on and find some mundane explanation for it. This seems to be their aim. The whole thing is very suspect and frankly quite absurd when you get into the topic. So investigating civilian cases is also the central pillar of UFO Sverige's activity. Unlike SUFOI, they don't aim to debunk every case. They do, however, in my view, manipulate their own statistics in a very blatant and silly way, so that only between 0 to 2 cases per year are defined as UFOs, when the real number ought to be much higher. even according to their own very strict criteria. And this is, maybe we can get back to this topic later, but in general, I think UFO Sverige are a bit more nuanced than SUFOI. Not full-on debunkers. They at least acknowledge the reality of the phenomenon. However, when you try to get a straight answer from what might be behind it, it's like talking to a politician. Never a straight answer. I don't think I ever heard of them talk of non-human intelligence as a reality. And the extraterrestrial hypothesis in particular, they take any opportunity to make a straw man out of and mock. SUFOI keeps referring to the UFO myth, and UFO Sverige talks about the UFO mystery. There's no satisfactory explanations, and we can never be free from doubt. And they focus quite often on local cases, historical local cases, and not really Nimitz, Roswell, Ariel, School, and so on. So you can really question the scientific approach here, making the hypothesis a taboo and only collecting data. Yes, and the main guy here is Claes Svan, our big hero, who's been so important for ufology in Sweden, is pretty much synonymous with the organization, and also he's been working in media and pretty much been the only guy that has been approached from media the last 30 years. He's been a journalist at one of our major newspapers, and whatever media outlet who wants an expert opinion on the matter, he's the go-to guy. I think some of you in the panel today know him personally and only have good things to say about him. And again, I'm not here to criticize too much. I'm sure that Claes does what he thinks is best and believes is right. But some things are highly suspect. For instance, whenever he's interviewed in conjunction to the latest Arrow report, he does nothing to question the sincerity in Arrow's motives, and instead emphasizes Kirkpatrick has done a good job. And Grusher's testimony, on the other hand, he has mentioned as a conspiracy theory in the same breath as flat earthers. And in general, the whole leadership's response to Grusher's claims have been very tepid, just claiming that, we heard this all before, as if that discounts their validity. This kind of analysis is to be expected by skeptics who, let's be honest, generally have a very poor knowledge of the topic. But this isn't the case with these guys at all. Claes has 50 years experience in the topic. They are very knowledgeable. And they are, of course, aware of things like the Admiral Wilson leak and all the substantiating evidence. It seems like they pretend that they're not aware of it. I'm not the first to smell something fishy here. People have been saying that Claes is here to keep the lid on since he took over in somewhat of a coup in the early 90s. And what I find the most sad is that there's been an environment created where witnesses and experiences feel distrusted and, as a consequence, remain silent. They are grouped together with lunatics, and I don't think that's very healthy. So, and even if you don't believe that there's any hidden agenda here, I probably wouldn't, with the limited evidence that I've provided. These organizations have likely played a very significant role in the level of interest and knowledge of the topic here in Scandinavia.
I'm gonna tell you, brother. I wanna make an applause because I love what you had to say, and I'll tell you what. We're also not thrilled with our media either. We feel like they are carrying the water for certain organizations that want to keep this secret, and so says Ross Coulthart. So says George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, because you have someone who testified under oath that he has evidence of these things and that he spoke with Sean Kirkpatrick, and then you have Arrow saying, "Yep, nobody's coming to us, told us anything." It's like, oh, okay, well, somebody testified under oath that that's not the case, and there's actually more than just him. Not to mention Lou Elizondo and others. So thank you, Christian. That was a brilliant speech that you made.